Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in my last update about Taste of Fate, the entire Coley family finds out that Prachi is pregnant and Pallavi asks Prachi to terminate her pregnancy, and Rhea was shocked to hear that Prachi is pregnant. Meanwhile, she is faking her own pregnancy. So let's continue. Prachi is thinking and she recalls knowing about her pregnancy and also Sushma's warning that if she goes to Rambro, then she should not come back to her house again. Prachi also remembered her decision to go back to Rambro for her baby. Prachi recalls deciding not to tell Rambro about his baby after seeing his marriage with Rhea. Prachi says, "What did I think and what is happening?" She says, "The last time, I thought to tell everything to Rambro, but I changed my decision seeing him with Rhea." Prachi says, "I thought to punish Rambro, but I am getting punished instead. Rhea is pregnant with Rambro's baby and she wants me to leave the house." Prachi says, "I will leave the house, but everyone came to know about my pregnancy already." Prachi says, "My plan has failed to punish Rambro and says I have to go away from here for the sake of Rhea." Prachi calls Shahana and tells her something, and she asks her not to tell anything to anyone. She leaves from the hospital. Shahana is going. Grandma asks that why is Shahana stressed? Did the doctor tell you something about Prachi and the baby? Shahana says it is Prachi. "I cannot tell you anything now, and I will say it on call." She goes. Rambro comes to the hospital ward and he asks that where is Prachi. The nurse comes there. Rambro asks if Prachi is taken for the test. The nurse says no, all the samples are taken here. She says maybe Prachi has went to have some fresh air and she was behaving strange earlier. The nurse says, "When I told Prachi that you are happy and dancing, then Prachi got sad." Rambro asks the nurse that what were you doing when Prachi was upset. Rambro asks where is Prachi. The nurse asks Rambro to calm down and says I will see where Prachi is. Aliyah tells Pallavi that she is unsuccessful to handle her own family. Aliyah says you couldn't handle your own son. Rambro doesn't even listen to you. Aliyah sees Grandma and says you went there excited and you came back so soon. Grandma says she saw Shahana going in a hurry and she worries about Prachi. Pallavi asks Grandma to stop worrying about Prachi. Pallavi tells Grandma that all the time that you mentioned Prachi's name, then if you had mentioned God's name, then you might have gotten all the happiness. Pallavi asks Grandma to listen to what Aliyah is saying. Aliyah says you are also reacting now. You would have reacted before. Vikram asks what Pallavi should have done before. Vikram asks, "Why haven't you done anything?" Aliyah asks Vikram that what could I have done? Vikram tells Aliyah that you could have stopped that wedding of Rambro and Rhea. Aliyah says to Vikram that Rambro and Prachi's marriage was wrong. Vikram says you are not understanding and says Rhea and Rambro's marriage was wrong. Aliyah gets upset. Rambro comes there and asks why did you support the marriage and you did not stop us? Vikram says you knows well why I did not stop the wedding. Rambro says that Rhea has threatened to commit suicide and that was why I married her. Rambro says this marriage wouldn't have happened and we got only suffering in this marriage. Prachi and all of us have suffered. Rambro asks if anyone knows where Prachi is. Vikram says that Prachi must be in the hospital room. Rambro calls Prachi. Prachi sits in the taxi and she rejects Rambro's call. Rambro goes out worried and calls Prachi while walking on the road. It is heavily raining and Rambro gets drenched in the rain and he calls Prachi and he runs. Rhea is walking in the hospital corridor thinking about Rambro's words. Rhea says I will make you believe the way that you will not disbelieve it in all your life. Rhea says I am not going to accept defeat. Aliyah continues to instigate Pallavi and says Prachi is jealous of Rhea's pregnancy and Prachi fainted so that everyone will believe that she is pregnant. She says it is all a drama. Grandma asks if Prachi is really acting and she asks if the doctor is also acting who confirmed that Prachi is pregnant. Grandma says that Prachi was leaving the house for Rhea's happiness and I had stopped her and Prachi stayed back on a condition that I should not tell anyone about it. Rhea hears that and she regrets blaming Aliyah. Rhea asks Aliyah and says sorry. Aliyah says we have to make things fine. Rambro continues to search for Prachi and he sits on the road crying. Shahana calls someone and asks the person to come near the hospital gate. Grandma asks Shahana where is Prachi. Shahana says I don't know. Grandma says you know where Prachi is but you are not telling me. Aliyah says to everyone to let Prachi go and says we are not dying to know where she is going. Shahana asks if Aliyah have a heart or not and says the heart beat for the loved ones and sometimes for the enemies, which Aliyah doesn't have. Aliyah says to Shahana that I am not interested to hear your nonsense. Pallavi says you cannot talk to Aliyah like that. Shahana asks, did you ask her not to say bad things against Prachi? Pallavi says, don't you dare judge me. Shahana says, now you came to know that Prachi was pregnant before Rhea, but you will not still accept her. Rambro calls Shahana. Shahana picks the call. Rambro asks, where is Prachi? Shahana says, I want to tell you, but I cannot tell you. Rambro says, please tell me. Shahana says, I know that you love Prachi so much, but your love is becoming poison and sadness for Prachi because you never express your love. Rambro says, whenever I try to make things fine, then I fail. Rambro says, I took Rhea's signature on the divorce papers and I was about to tell her, but my life changed in a moment. Rambro asks if he will lie after knowing that Prachi is pregnant with his child. Shahana asks if Rambro is truthful, then he should stop Prachi. If Prachi goes away today, then she would go out of the city very far. Rambro asks Shahana that where is Prachi? Shahana says Prachi is at home and she is packing her stuff. Rambro thanks Shahana. Rhea yes Shahana. Rambro sits in the taxi. Shahana looks at Rhea and goes to sit in the taxi. Rhea prays to God to separate Prachi and Rambro, and she prays that they should never meet. Prachi takes her bag and it opens up. Prachi says, let me take my stuff. I am not taking anything from this house. She looks at Rambro's photo frame and she packs it as well. She tries to take off Rambro's photo frame from the wall. Rambro is on the way in the taxi and he recalls Shahana's words. Rambro asks the driver to drive the car fast and overtake this car. The driver hits the car. Rambro asks if the driver is fine and he gives him money to get the car repaired and says he would run and go home. Rambro gets out of the car and runs on the road. Rambro gets home in a hurry and he calls Prachi. Rambro sleeps and falls down as he was running to see Prachi, but he gets up and calls Prachi. A song plays in the background. Rambro recalls their moment and he comes to the room. Rambro says he doesn't see Prachi in the room and he gets sad, thinking about Shahana's words. Just then, Prachi comes out of the bathroom. Rambro looks at Prachi as if he got back his life. Prachi also looks at Rambro. A song plays in the background. Rambro bends down on his knees and he asks Prachi not to go. Prachi asks, why should I stay back? Rambro says, please stay back for me. Prachi says, I cannot stay back for you. Rambro says, then stay back for our baby. Prachi looks at Rambro. Rambro asks Prachi not to go. Prachi says, I cannot stay back. Time has come to leave. Rambro says to Prachi that if you go from here, then I will die. Prachi slaps Rambro and asks him not to talk about death. Rambro says, I am just saying, but you are taking my life with you. Rambro says, I know you don't care for me, but have some pity and sympathy on me. Rambro says to Prachi that please give me a reason to live before my death, and he asks Prachi. Prachi says, you only talk, but you don't take action. Prachi says, I am very angry with you. Good talks will not come out of my mouth for you, as you left me alone. Rambro asks Prachi again. Prachi says you lie and you do fake promises. Prachi says to Rambro that I see dreams because of your talks, and then the shattered dream hurt my eyes. Rambro says I will make everything fine. Prachi says you cannot. Rambro asks Prachi for a chance and says I have two reasons. Prachi says there is nothing left in you. Don't have hope, patience and feelings. Prachi says to Rambro that there is a life inside me, but I am weak and shattered. I am done. Prachi says if you let me go, then I might have saved myself. Prachi says I am begging you to give me my life and says all the persons cannot stay with us forever. Prachi asks Rambro to think that they met to separate and she asks him to stay with his family and forget her and their togetherness was still there. Rambro looks at Prachi. Prachi says don't look at me this way. If I cry more, then I will get weak. I am not strong like I appear. Don't make things difficult for me. Please let me go. Rambro holds Prachi's hand and cries looking at her. Prachi frees her hand and tries to go. A song plays in the background. Prachi is about to lift her bag, but Rambro says at least let me lift your bag for you. Rambro lifts her bag and it opens up, making the stuff falls down. Rambro sees his photo frame and Prachi says it came by mistake. Rambro asks Prachi that what about this frame? Prachi says it was also there by mistake. Rambro says 2 mistakes twice. Prachi says you have done 100 mistakes 100 times. Rambro says I haven't learned to love from anyone and says I couldn't be a perfect lover. Rambo says to Prachi that I made many mistakes and I learned from it, and says I understood that you can say bye to me, but you cannot say bye to my pictures. Rambo asks Prachi to ask her out and asks her not to go, and if she wants to go, then she should take him along with her. Rambo says to Prachi that I cannot live without you, and says you have taught me how to love, and says I cannot say that you have taught me separation, as you only couldn't separate yourself from me. Prachi cries. Rambo kisses on Prachi's forehead and hugs her. Prachi holds Rambo and she cries. They record their marriage. Vikram, Grandma and Pallavi comes home. Aliyah and Rhea comes in another car. Aliyah says I will lecture Pallavi so that she will throw Prachi out of the house holding her hand. Rhea says do something. Aliyah gets down from the car and asks Pallavi to do something and make up for all the bad times. Aliyah says that Prachi is not good for this family, Rambo and for Rhea. She says Prachi tried to kill Rhea's baby and says Rhea is your choice and she will keep you happy. Until Prachi is here, then nobody can be happy. Rhea asks Pallavi to prove her love for her, and she asks her to show that she is important to her and not that Prachi. And to prove this, you have to throw Prachi out of the house. Aliyah says that Rhea is a clean-hearted girl and she doesn't lie and manipulate like Prachi. She says Prachi always tried to separate Rambo from you and says he wanted to leave the house 2 days back, and that is why you have to throw Prachi out of the house. Don't melt seeing Rambo crying. You will be happy afterwards. Aliyah says to Pallavi that if Rambo stops Prachi from leaving the house, then stop Rambo and throw Prachi out of the house holding her hand. Shahana hears Aliyah and asks that how can anyone hate her niece so much. Rambo is about to wipe Prachi's tears. Prachi holds Rambo's hand to stop him. Prachi says no, Rambo, no. Why do you think that I will stop if you say and I will not go? Prachi says I will go and you cannot stop me. Prachi takes her stuff. Rambo hugs her and says please don't go. Prachi asks Rambo to leave her and says you are hurting me. Prachi says your touch hurts me more than your talks. Prachi says to Rambo that I used to feel that all my pain will go with your touch, but your touch suffocates me now. Rambo says sorry and says I didn't know that you felt so much pain now. Prachi says you ignore my pain and you gave me more pain. Rambo says he will make everything fine. Prachi says to Rambo that I am shattered and my soul is dead. Rambo asks for a chance. Prachi says I had given you and came to tell you that we are pregnant and you are going to become a father. Prachi says when I came, you were marrying Rhea and now she is pregnant, and she asks why should I stay back? Rambo says to Prachi that don't stay back for me, but stay back for our child. Shahana asks Aliyah to keep her poison to herself and says Prachi herself is leaving the house. Aliyah says she says, but she doesn't go. I am saying what is right. Aliyah asks Pallavi to throw Prachi out of Rambo's life. Pallavi goes inside. Aliyah smiles and goes. Prachi asks Rambo if he is showing care for his child and says very conveniently, you made me bad. Prachi says, didn't you know that I can be pregnant at any time? Rambo pleaded in front of Prachi not to leave the house. Prachi says, I am pleading in front of you to let me go. Prachi says to Rambo that I have returned to tell you that I am pregnant and that I have forgiven you, but you were busy marrying Rhea then. Then that time I swear to destroy you, and I said I will snatch all your happiness from you, and I will not tell you that you are becoming a father. Prachi says to Rambo that I have hidden my baby so that you will yearn to hear father from my baby. Rambo says my Prachi cannot do this. Prachi says that Prachi is dead, who used to love you and who loves you. Prachi says you did not rectify your mistakes, but I am rectifying my mistakes. Prachi keeps Rambo's photo frames on the bed and goes out. Rambo is shocked and says Prachi. Vikram and Grandma comes there. They see Prachi living with her bag. Prachi holds her hand. Rambo comes out of the room and thinks that she should not go. Prachi thinks it is too late. I will not stop. Pallavi, Aliyah and Rhea comes there. Rhea and Aliyah are smiling. Rhea thinks that finally Prachi is going. Rambo is here, but it is good that Prachi did not stop even though Rambo is begging her to stop. Okay guys, even though Rambo begged Prachi not to leave the house, but Prachi was still adamant to leave the house. So will Prachi definitely leave the house? Then you'll get to know in the next update. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like the video and share it. I'll see you in the next update. Thank you.